Mr. Smith.
Good morning, Christian.
How are you doing today?
I'm fair, yourself?
Oh, awesome. So, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about social media?
Well, gosh, thank you for approaching me, Christian, to talk about social media.
Of course.
As somebody with no social media presence,
Oh, wow.
I have not a lot of expertise in this area. Pretty much all I know about social media is from watching you find young people flip endlessly through this, is it fair to say garbage? Garbage.
enough.
Through this garbage that I don't see the appeal at all.
Oh,
but
wow.
that's me. Each individual is unique. Everybody has their interests.
Yes.
The sort of things I'm into are not for everybody.
Yeah.
My preferred reading material, music genre, whatnot, not a one size fits all,
Yeah.
not for everybody. But for myself personally, looking over shoulders and seeing what the young people are looking at, I don't get it.
You don't.
I would rather pay attention to class.
Wow.
And that's a low bar.
So,
Or talk to the person beside me, or read, or even just daydream. It tries my patience looking over somebody's shoulder for like 20 seconds going, really? That's what you're looking at? That's what you're concentrating on? And I just don't understand it. I just plain don't understand it.
Yes.
I don't understand the appeal.
Yes.
But more importantly, I'm worried about the addictive effects of this social media.
Oh, wow.
That part I do understand a little bit better in terms of the brain chemistry and the centers of your brain that are
Yeah.
activated through those electron interfaces.
Yeah.
And I think young people aren't allowed recreational drugs for a reason. As their
Yeah.
brain develops, as it continues to grow until they're 25 or so. They aren't allowed alcohol until later in that window for a reason, as their brain continues to develop. But this unregulated access to social media and the addictive patterns that are forming are a little troubling to me, especially as somebody who doesn't understand the vice at
Yeah.
all anyway.
Would you call it more of a generational difference, since you yourself are a lot older than most of us, me being 17 and most of my scholars and peers being 16, some maybe even 18. So there's clearly a generational difference, of course. Would you say that despite this generational difference, you yourself would be inclined into trying social media? Based
No,
on- oh.
no, I don't believe so. A lot of my age cohort, a lot of my peers, people
Yeah.
of the same age, have that same issue going on. Can't look away. Crash their cars because they
Oh,
can't
wow.
look away from
Yeah.
the screen. I see that behavior in people of my own age. I see that behavior in people older than myself.
Yes.
Very few and far between are the young people who have no interest in that electronic world, who have limited or no social media presence and don't buy into that.
Yes.
But there are some. For the most part, they're sterling and impressive young people, but few and far between are they in your cohort, class of 2023.
As an educator, your main goal is to teach us kids, right?
Correct.
Well, in terms of distractions, what would you say is the number one distraction for students?
It's definitely that phone.
Oh, wow.
But you know what? Times change. When I was in your seat, I always had 3 or 4 books in my backpack because I'm a reader, and that was my preferred distraction. I had 3 or 4 because frequently teachers would take 1 or 2
Yes.
away from me, and then I always had a backup for when they went back up to their desk.
Oh,
I
wow.
could take out my other book. I'm sure you would never carry 2 or 3 phones.
Oh, I
Or a
wouldn't.
phone and a DS and a Switch, or...
Then again, a phone can, you can utilize many of its applications and whatnot. If
Correct.
any, you could compare it to the same, just as you were saying, you carry 2 or 3 books. I can carry 1,000 books. So, if anything, the phone is a lot more damaging. Not only can I access all these books, I can access games, YouTube, different applications like TikTok and Instagram and whatnot. So,
It is a very powerful tool, and there's great stuff that you can do with
Yeah.
it. TikTok is not on that list.
oh wow. So, what do you think about TikTok? It seems like you don't like it.
I don't understand it from the limited interaction that I've had with it.
Oh, wow.
Again, I have no social media presence. I don't like to stare at the electrons. So I don't really know enough to give you a balanced critique.
Yes.
But every time I look over somebody's shoulder and there's a demonstration on how to put on makeup or comb your hair, I'm left wondering, why?
Why?
Why? How is this worth your time?
Yeah. Would you say these social medias and whatnot does it play into society as a benefit, or on the contrary, just poorly affecting society?
I think overwhelmingly very poorly.
Mm.
But again, it's what people do with the tool.
Yeah.
That cell phone is a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
It's also a very potent toy.
Mm.
It's like blaming television. Television could do so much good,
Yeah.
but it can do so much harm. The social media has the potential to do really great things. I don't think it's doing that, but I think that's the people who are using it more so than the nature of the media itself.
Mm. Do you think we can continue using our phones, but do you think there's a way we should be taught how to use our phones and how to prevent these addictions that you would so call?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that starts at home, but it also happens in the classroom.
Mhm.
Home is a little more relaxed environment, right?
Yes.
Where some use of that toy is appropriate. In the classroom, though, the use of a toy, not really appropriate. But the powerful tool, that's appropriate. And I'm always trying to scaffold that for young people so that they can make responsible decisions. I think I shared with your class that this is a second career for me, that I was in the banking world for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And towards the end of my time as a banker, where I was a manager and a supervisor and overseeing frontline employees, people who this was their first real job,
Mm-hmm.
I started to get employees who thought, well, gosh, if there's not a customer in front of me, I can play on my phone.
Oh, wow. That was a while ago.
And that was a good little bit ago. I've been teaching since 2007. So that was just as that started to happen.
Mhm.
And I had to have some uncomfortable conversations with young people going, look, your time doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to me. I paid for it. I'm buying it right now, hour by hour. Like, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean.
Yeah.
You can make cold calls. You can approach people on the street and try to sell credit cards. You can do some filing. Like, I've got stuff for you to do. I'm not paying you to play on your phone. I don't want you to ever have that conversation with the supervisor. And so I try to scaffold for young people in the classroom, like,
Yeah.
hey, like, this is an appropriate use of your technology at this
Yes.
time, and this is not, and are we using it as a toy or as a tool?
Now, it seems that most young people are very uneducated on how addicting the phone can be and its usage with social media. Do you think public schools should try to set up a curriculum to educate children on proper times to use their phone, how to prevent said addictions, or perhaps just like a manual on how to use your phone resourcefully and do the best you can with it without
It's
negatively
not a bad
affecting
idea. It's certainly not a bad idea. I think that's happening in every classroom already anyway. I think in 9th grade you had a health and safety
Yes.
class where you looked at addictive behaviors and
true.
addictions. I'm sure that's being addressed in psych for those of us who are opting to take psychology.
Yes.
So it's not a bad idea. I think it's happening, but a more programmatic approach couldn't be bad.
Oh, definitely. All right. Say we do nothing right now. We just leave the issue where it's at. You know, people are still on their phones, social media, whatnot. And we leave it, maybe let's say 100 years from now. What do you think that would take us? People kept doing the same thing they did, and whatever's happening just keeps accumulating and accumulating and accumulating.
I'm kind of hoping people will get tired of it
Ah,
and say, you know what? No.
Wow.
I've got better things to do with
Wow.
my time. With my limited time on this earth, I'm going to get out and do something real and not stare at somebody else doing something poorly.
mhm. Is that what you hope, or is that what you really think will happen?
Yes.
Oh. Well. All right. One last question. Let's end it pretty bigly, right? Would you ever consider banning that phone, banning the social media, banning all that electronic stuff from this classroom, or perhaps, if you had the decision, from San Leandro High School?
At the high school, I don't think that's appropriate. At the middle school, I think it is. Middle schoolers haven't developed that ability to think abstractly. They don't have that level of judgment. They just need to know, nope, put it away, can't have it,
Yes.
no. For you guys, again, because I don't want you to ever have that uncomfortable conversation with the supervisor as you start your work life, I would like to scaffold and model appropriate use of the technology in a workplace, because this is a workplace.
Interesting. Well, thank you for the conversation.
Thank you, Christian.
Very
Pleasure.
pleased.
All right. Awesome.